Welcome to this explainer. Today we're unpacking something pretty revolutionary, a source document that details the Parivarthana Gurukulam model. It's a holistic childcare and character building center. Honestly, if you've ever felt completely overwhelmed navigating the whole parenting thing in today's digital age, you are definitely going to want to hear this. We're looking at a structured, totally alternative solution to all those modern child-rearing headaches.
Are screens and isolation raising today's generation? I mean, it's a question that hits so close to home, doesn't it? The material we're digging into today tackles this modern parenting crisis right head-on. We're talking about an entire generation dealing with heavy mobile addiction, intense public tantrums, kids who absolutely refuse to eat, and just widespread childhood loneliness. It really does feel like technology is doing the parenting these days, and families are desperately searching for a better way out.
Okay, let's dive into the science behind this whole project. It is absolutely crucial to understand this. A staggering 90% of a child's brain development happens by the age of 6. 90%. Only 10% happens after that. So this means the window between ages 3 and 6 isn't just about, keeping toddlers busy or out of your hair. It is literally the most critical biological and psychological window in a human being's life. The core idea here is that if we can plant those seeds of empathy, good character, and emotional regulation early on, they're going to take root for a lifetime.
So, here is our roadmap for today. First, we'll look at the modern crisis. Second, we'll introduce the visionary founder. Third, we'll explore the grandma concept. Fourth, the 4 pillars of training. Fifth, tracking habits. And finally, number 6, the green asset.
Let's jump right into part 1, the modern crisis and understanding the pain points.
The source material lays out the very real, everyday hurdles parents are facing right now. The absolute daily battle of prying a mobile phone away from a toddler, navigating those extreme, stubborn public tantrums, dealing with kids who won't take a single bite of food without a screen in front of them, and this growing, worrying disconnect from nature. What's fascinating is how the program addresses this out in the field. Instead of hitting parents with a heavy enrollment pitch, they host a completely free one-day mega camp at local panchayat centers. It's a brilliant way to establish common ground and build trust around these exact struggles before asking for any sort of commitment from the parents.
Moving on to part 2, the visionary founder, Dr. T.P. Sasikumar. Talk about an unexpected hero for struggling parents. Dr. Sasikumar brings a brilliantly unique background to this space. We're talking about someone who served for over 20 years as a senior scientist at ISRO, India's premier space agency, even holding director roles at major space centers. He's got a PhD in mathematics, plus advanced degrees in management, human resources, and computer applications. On top of the rocket science, he's a former university vice-chancellor and an absolute expert in yoga and ancient Indian psychology. It's this fascinating blend, right? Taking the ultimate precision of space science and mixing it beautifully with traditional Gurukulam methodologies.
All right, part 3, the grandma concept, a return to roots.
This program relies heavily on what they call the play-way method for kids aged 3 to 6. Imagine this. 0 books, absolutely 0 exams. Kids just spend 2 hours on the weekends in these really colorful, super safe rooms. The whole idea is to ditch the heavy backpacks and academic pressure and replace them with the warmth, storytelling, and unconditional love that a grandparent, a grandma, would traditionally give. They're basically taking highly effective modern psychological techniques and wrapping them up in the comforting, familiar feel of traditional family dynamics.
Which brings us to part 4, the 4 pillars of training.
Let's break down how they actually cure these behavioral issues, because it's incredibly clever. Instead of lecturing a toddler, which, let's be real, never works, they use stories and puppets. Kids interact with characters and just naturally absorb good habits. Then there's fun yoga. When a kid is throwing a massive tantrum, there are no timeouts. Instead, they do a lion's roar or flap butterfly wings. It is literally emotional regulation and meditation disguised as play to control anger and stubbornness. For selfishness, group play focused on sharing and caring, getting kids perfectly comfortable eating on their own without a screen. And finally, the Nature Connect pillar gets children actively interacting with the environment to build some deep, genuine compassion and responsibility.
Now, for part 5, tracking habits, not marks.
There is a huge contrast here between the traditional academic route and this Gurukulam system. Standard progress cards grade toddlers on math or science based on exams, which is a lot of pressure. Parivarthana Gurukulam completely flips the script with a habit tracker. They measure the things that actually matter at this age. Has their mobile phone use dropped? Are they sharing their toys? Are they feeding themselves? And this isn't just done in a vacuum. Mentors and parents evaluate this together, and a full report gets sent straight to the parents every month via WhatsApp. It perfectly bridges that gap between the classroom and the home.
And of course, you can't forget the power of the Golden Star sticker. To keep the kids engaged, the program relies on simple, positive psychological reinforcement. Earning these stars seriously fuels a child's motivation, it builds up their self-confidence, and creates this genuine excitement to go back to the weekend camps. It's just a fantastic structured reward system.
Finally, Part 6, the green financial asset.
Now this is where things get incredibly revolutionary. Every child enrolled is given a high-quality sandalwood sapling to plant in their own yard. They call this a green fixed deposit. Think about it. It takes that Nature Connect pillar we just talked about and roots it right in the child's home. The child waters it, cares for it, and literally watches it grow alongside them. It builds a beautiful emotional bond with the earth. But actually, it's not just emotional. The structure goes way beyond that.
So here is the massive financial punchline according to the source material. By the time that child reaches 20 or 25 years old, that sandalwood tree reaches full maturity and becomes a highly valuable legal green asset. The document projects that this mature tree will yield a return of over 100 times the parent's initial investment in the childcare program. Over 100 times! It is an absolutely brilliant mechanism ensuring that investing in early character building literally pays off for their higher education or adult life down the road.
Which leaves us with this really provocative question from the material. What if true education is about cultivating a child's mind today while protecting the earth for their tomorrow? Parivarthana Gurukulam proves that childcare doesn't have to just be a waiting room for primary school. It can be this wonderfully holistic, socially responsible, and financially rewarding journey for the whole family.